Hey everybody, my name is James. This will be the first Trade Devils video I have ever created. So be nice. Mostly into Elliott Wave, some indicators, lots of geometry. I like channels a lot. And if you're around TDU, I'm sure you've noticed that I've posted a bunch of ridiculous channel charts that I've created over the months and years I've been in TDU. So let's dive right in. Today I thought I'd give a quick talk about Ethereum, maybe a little bit of Bitcoin, show you some interesting channels, and my long shot, which is GRT. So let's dive right in. So here's Ethereum, and I'm still of the opinion that it's very possible that we've had a 1, 2, and a 3, and now we are actually put in a massive flat for a wave 4. It's still very possible that there's a 5th left to come. When will it happen? Don't know. The other possibility, of course, is that we are sitting with a 1, 2, and then now another 1, 2. Just something to keep in mind. So, obviously we're never going to know which, not for much time later, probably even beyond that. So we'll take a deep dive, a little bit of what's going on up here, and I'll show you why I think this is where we're sitting right now. So let's bring it down to the 12-hour time frame here. So I know there's been a lot of confusion, or everybody has got their own opinions of this section right here. I'll show you a Bitcoin chart here in a little bit, if I can find it, that proves that with Bitcoin, this move down here is an impulse, which tells me that Bitcoin is in a flat, a very large flat. So, not everybody may agree with my counts. Frankly, I don't care if you do. I do just fine on my own. So, at this point in time, I think actually Ethereum has bottomed. Now, there could be some other factors at play, which I'll go into. But for right now, we have created a bottom, in my opinion, and I'm denoting it by an A-B expanded diag to make a C. Some might not like an expanded diag to be a C, but I've been over this count more times than I care to even mention. And this is the only proper count that I can come up with that does not violate any rules and actually looks the way it's supposed to. So ABC, get a small 2, ABC for the 3, we get our 4, and then we get an A, B, C for a 5. That gives us our C rundown. So, off the low, we'll drop down a little bit more here. So off the low, I believe we come up as a diag for a wave 1. We get our 3rd. We get a diag and then do a 3rd, 4th, and finally a 5th. This is why I think we've bottomed, is this move right here. Sure, maybe there's some other counts you could come up with where you could force fit a correction in there. I just don't think it's there. Coming off the high, I do believe we get 5 waves. We get a correction, we get 5 waves. Now this area in here is pretty garbage, okay? So as you watch my videos, I'll just simply make some assumptions on higher time frames. I'm not going to dive down into the nitty-gritty because it's a complete guess of what actually all of this could be. For right now, I'm kind of looking at it as a 3-wave move, a 3-wave move, followed by an impulse. That gives us what? A flat for an X wave, okay? We break the channel, X wave breaks the channel, fantastic, and we dive back in. So, at this point, my gut is telling me that here, even though I will be the first to admit I do not believe in truncations, but right here by a tick, there's a truncation. By nothing, there's a truncation. Got some pretty major wicks going on here. If we look at this in line, we can clearly see that line chart actually makes a new low. Sometimes I flip between candles and lines, even though it might be considered cheating, or not going by the markets and what they're actually doing with their wicks. But so for right now, I'm actually calling this move If I can figure out how to use TradingView again, that'd be fantastic. I'm going by this move still being an A. I see a 3-wave move up. We get this 3-wave move here for an A wave, and we get a B. Now this part here, which I'll dive lower here in just a second. I still think we're waiting on this down here. I think we're still gonna come back down and test this channel. I don't think that this C is complete yet. It could be. This certainly looks like it's, you know, pretty crazy going up at this point. We're just kind of stuttering here, though, which, again, we'll dive back down on the smaller time frames in just a minute. But if this happens, it would basically mean that we should come back up for our Y. Okay? And this would be of the B of the larger degree double zigzag. And this would actually make our 2. My premise has been for a long time that Bitcoin is going to make a new low, barely, but Ethereum will not. We've seen a lot more strength out of Ethereum than Bitcoin. Bitcoin's probably just not done yet. So let's drop down a little bit. Actually, let me turn on. I guess I don't have one on this chart. Nope. Okay. Let's just dive back down here. Get a little closer. As I mentioned before, guys, garbage. I just don't really pay attention to garbage. I rarely try to figure it out. But what I can tell you right here is I see a W and an X, a Y, making us our A wave. A wave of a flat. We get A, B, and a C. This must be over there. Now we get our drop. Now, Bitcoin violates a rule here. Ethereum does not. Bitcoin, so the rule is that the B wave of a flat should not be more than 2 times the length of A. Bitcoin violates this rule. Ethereum does not. So, for right now, I'm paying attention to Ethereum. I'm not necessarily paying attention to Bitcoin. It's good to watch both, but as an old sensei said, you can't compare one chart to another chart, even if they're similar assets. So we've got to live by that. Now, I look here at what's going on this drop, and I'm just not seeing 5 waves. Now, granted, we could have a large 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We come up by barely for a 2, 3, 4. You know, maybe we can get that in there. The problem that I have with most of this is this move is just simply not long enough. No matter if we're on log or arithmetic, it doesn't really seem to matter. My thought was that this was more like a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, and then we still have this 5th to go. As you can see where we're getting stopped at right now on the 2 hour. You can also see that we're getting pretty hot. Created some bearish divergence in here. I took a short up here in this zone. Still in the short right now, even though we're just trading sideways. So we do have this chart. Crazy channels, right? So I was thinking more along the lines of 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for another 1 of the 3rd. 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we get this flat in here. Now, I hate the look of it. It's not typical, but you know what? We've seen some pretty strange moves coming out of here. I really don't like anything about this. I don't even like any of the way that it measures. But I see a 3-wave move here, 3-wave, 3-wave, followed by an impulse. Sorry, it tells me a flat again because we do break the low. So the reason why I'm short is because I still think this 5th is down here yet to come, and the market just doesn't know it yet. It's just trading sideways. So now, if my idea plays out, I would expect Ethereum. Let's get rid of the garbage here for a second. As we should all know, we gotta keep looking for our 50s, our golden zones, etc. Right? Well, if we move out to, say, the daily time frame, Notice on the daily, we come up here, we didn't quite get there, tested it again. My gut feel is we're going to pop down here, we're going to come back up probably around this time, and we're going to test the Vegas waves one more time. And I think that's just going to be all she wrote. Maybe it's going to take a little more time, who knows, I'm not a time expert by any means. And then we get that final drop. The goal is that this entire WX and a Y, right here, the 1 to 1 to the 1272 is where we're supposed to be looking. If we can get that golden zone, here's our first algo target, which would be right in the pocket that we're looking for, right in this section. That's where we'd be looking. That would not break the low. If we don't break the low, we could say it's very possible that we've got a 1 into a 2, and we're going to go for a third, and bull run just might be on. However, that's the bullish case. Now, I hear a lot about probabilities and possibilities, etc. I think we all know that we see a lot of crazy moves in crypto, and so I tend to look at anything that's actually possible. Okay, so of course I've got a lot of ideas. Maybe some things I'll cover here, some things I won't. It's incredibly possible that we have an A, we'll be putting in some sort of a B and a C, maybe something along these lines, and then we're just going to continue down again. I don't necessarily think that is going to happen. I think we've fallen quite a bit. I think that if we were to say come down to the lower val range here, the 1272 is quite interesting that it's up here at the upper val, just for the way this chart is appearing right now. But the problem that I've got with it is that it would take us dramatically deep. I mean, on log, it's 411. It's very possible. Arithmetic though, well, I don't want to go to negative 1724. So I think we're already, deep enough. Anything's possible. We've fallen 82% so far. It's pretty deep. So anything is possible. This could be happening. Considering the state of the economy, the markets and everything of that nature, I think it's entirely possible that something even bigger is going on right now. That we could be in like a macro flat. So in other words, this would be the A wave, the B wave, and the C wave of just the A wave of a larger degree flat. Not exactly sure how it would play out, but again, you got to keep your ideas open as to what could happen on a larger scale, right? So if we are in a larger flat, what would we be looking for? Well, we'd be looking for 3 waves. So we'd have to do something like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, come down, come back up. Maybe even break the new high, make everybody think, oh, that was the wave 5, or whatever the case may be. No matter what, we need a 3-wave move out here to get us into the flat area, to get us above the high, or at least mate to it. Sorry, perhaps it's more like something like this, right? So, we can stop at the high, we can go a little bit above, we can go all the way up here even. And then I think it's possible something like that happens. People are calling for recession or depression or whatever the heck is going to happen in the next year here. I mean, we could get some sort of really awesome relief rally and then end up falling to our butts. A buddy of mine and I were looking at a few things, that you know who you are, that it could be something along these lines. Speed fans, yeah. Maybe something along that. I think right now the simple fact of the matter is what we need to pay attention to is our trading degree, which right now I'm getting pretty bullish, frankly. I would like to see this one more drop, and then we can go. All right, so let's take just a quick look at Bitcoin. Now, as I said, I'm into geometry quite a bit. I love making channels. I can show you some channels that are just absolutely crazy. Here's some channels on the recent price action. I'll explain these red lines here in just a minute. Now, keep in mind, a lot of my charts you see, there might just be ideas on them. Doesn't necessarily mean that I think that's the count. They're just ideas. Almost every chart I have is nothing but a scratch pad and different things that I play around with. What I want you to pay attention to here in this chart, let's just get rid of all this, are how the channels are actually making this market here, or just framing it, however you want to call it. As you can see, I mean, you got a touch on the outer, almost a touch on the bottom. Everywhere along here, these channels have been playing, right? Everywhere. You can see little stutters. You can see, what the market is definitely reacting to all of these places. Frankly, I've never seen a more perfect channeling of everything that's going on here. Not to be too terribly arrogant, but this is what I do when I'm bored, is I sit around and play with channels. So as you can see, so the next likely spot I would be looking for a reaction to happen, some sort of reaction. If we lose this, which I'm not willing to bet we're going to, is right here. Let's call it 13.8, 13.9. This is actually a monthly level that's sitting right here, which is quite brilliant. This is ultimately where I think we're going to be heading sometime soon. I do think that we're in some form of a diag. The question is what type of, what is this? What is the entire move? Not sure. Bitcoin's been nowhere near as clear. But ultimately, I think we're going to get some sort of a reaction down here if we lose this median of this channel, which I suspect is coming. We have to finish in 5, not 3. So the red lines on the chart. Let's talk about those for a minute. Now, this is something that's actually quite interesting. I think Sam talked about this in one of his videos a while back. I had shared this stuff with him. So what you notice here in 2011, 2015, 2018, we had one dive, and the dive on the bull trading Elliott Wave oscillator marked the low. After the dump, marked the low. After the dump, marked the low again. So dive, 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 right? You'd kind of expect this. The interesting part about it is here it's dive, 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 low. Here, dive, 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 low once again. Nothing of that sort happened here. And then when we look at this, it doesn't mate up. It's different. So again, 3 dives, 3 dives. What happened here? Because typically, the lowest point of the bull trading EWO out on the weekly time frame should signify a low. So this, theoretically, should have been our low. Obviously, we've got some divergence going on. Price is going down. We're coming up. Another reason why I think we are going to make another low, but I think we're going to hold right here. I think Bitcoin's going to make another low. Ethereum will not. But anything's possible, right? So, very curious why we're not getting that 5th dive that we've seen. 1, 2, 3. This looks different. Kind of leads credence maybe to the idea that we're going to have some sort of a flat, but Bitcoin has certainly lost its ass a lot more than Ethereum has. So, of course, I'm sure a lot of people have pointed out, the divergence that we are building. So on the weekly, right? Again, this is where our low is. That's where our low is on the RSI for the weekly. We are building divergence every day that goes on, every week that goes on. We're building divergence still. The monthly, well, no. RSI has never in Bitcoin's history been this low, which I find quite interesting. I think at some point whether it be just a relief rally or a full-on let's go on the bull parade. Soon we're going to see some sort of reaction that takes us up. So, the question is when. The other idea with these red lines in the three dives I should mention is the question kind of becomes: are we going to get the same, three dives? Maybe this was the three dives, 1, 2, and 3, and that was a dive, but it doesn't match our low, so we can't say. So maybe there is a black swan, holy shit type of event that says, well, we're not going to hold this, we're not going to hold that, we're really going to be doomed. If that's the case, then I think altcoins would completely disappear from the face of the earth. So, for whatever reason, I don't think that the three dives is going to happen again. It was an interesting pattern that was in play, but this one, it just didn't hold this time. So. I apologize, guys. This is my first video, so my thoughts are all over the place. I didn't prepare anything. I don't prepare anything, that's just how I am. So, I think the next one we could look at real fast would be a little GRT. Now, I have been following GRT for a very long time. I've been buying GRT for a very long time. GRT is basically Bitcoin's whipping boy. It's probably like a lot of alts. GRT just simply does what Bitcoin does. Most alts do what Bitcoin does, but in GRT's case, it definitely does what Bitcoin does. Looks pretty sad, frankly. I had been buying some GRT down here in these levels. Not too terribly much to go by as far as what's happening here. I can tell you that I think that this is a three-wave move, giving us a W wave right there, and then we get A, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the question is that there our Y wave, and then this small thing, is this another X wave and we're getting another Y wave? I don't know. I'll tell you, the RSI is, monthly it's just sideways now. It's the weekly is just sideways. My gut tells me that GRT, from just knowing what it likes to do, the way GRT versus Bitcoin looks, my gut says if this wasn't the low right here, actually there's my count. Where did it go? Oh shit. Is this my count? Let's find out. Or is this just another scratch pad? Oh, no, that is my count. Okay. W, X, and Y. Did we bottom? Did GRT bottom? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third, 4, and I think we've got some sort of an extended fifth going on here. We can see 1, maybe a 2. Gets a little nasty in here. It could also be 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Frankly, I don't really count GRT, to be honest with you. I counted a little bit, but only on higher time frames. Its moves are so sporadic and so volatile that it's hard to actually count it to see what's really going on with it. My gut says that if that's the 5, great. I am thinking, since Bitcoin's got another low coming, I think we're going to probably see something like this. Maybe 3 cents, 2.5 cents. I still think that we've got one more little drop to go in here. So, but I have been accumulating. I've been accumulating down here in this spot. So, when we look at the Elliott Wave oscillator here, we can kind of tell right off the bat when we're looking at the different waves in relationship to the EWO. There, here, here. So clearly we're getting weaker, right? Clearly we're going to be facing an upward turn at some point, and I think Bitcoin is right in line for giving us that. So I just don't see too much of an impulsive move out of the bottom yet. With the way that this looks, even on lower time frames, You know, unless we have some sort of flat in play here. Let's check it out. I haven't actually looked at GRT in a few days. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4. Still looks like another fifth to go, but it's possible we've got a flat in play. And this right here could have actually been the bottom. We're just going to have to wait and see. So we will see. Anyway, again, first video I ever made. Hope it's not too terrible for you guys. Maybe I'll get better as time goes on. You can always come and join Trade Devils and ask me any questions you'd like to. I am primarily an ETH trader. I probably should be trading Bitcoin at the same time, but I primarily trade ETH. I'm into GRT, ETH, Bitcoin Flux, Link. Occasionally I'll pay attention to the DXY. So, but in a nutshell, that's it. So quick recap. I think right now we're waiting for one more low on ETH. I want to see this pop. As far as Bitcoin is concerned, man, I've got so many different ideas of what could be going on with Bitcoin. I still think it's kind of a shit show, and it's just a wait and see. It could be in just a simple ABC to the downside. Again, I think the biggest point for me to take, if you were to take away anything from this video, is I think we are coming to some sort of an end. I think it's going to happen sooner than we think, whether it be a relief rally or something else. Tell you what, I will actually show you one more chart. Talk about channels. So here we've got the 200, 300, 400 moving average. Now, personally, I'm kind of the opinion that moving averages, well, you can move them and you can come up with a different one to find where we're bouncing off of, etc. But I think the 200, 300, 400 are pretty interesting. Now, I don't mean terribly much. I think it's interesting that we tagged here. The 200, I think it's interesting to tag to the 300. Does that mean that a tag to the 400 is coming? Well, it's quite interesting that I showed you this other chart. Wherever the heck it went now. Okay, so here's this one. I showed you these channels, how all these different channels mate, right? And we end up right here at 13.9, 13.8, right? Well, I found it pretty interesting that when we look at the 400 MA, well, guess where that is? It's right here, 13.9, 13.8. So I got 2 points of confluence now. And there, right there, is your monthly level. Right in the same spot. A little quick wick, and then a power move out. I'd be willing to put some money on that right there. Monthly level could be pretty awesome. Again, it's all just a wait and see. You know, frankly, even when you look at Bitcoin on the higher time frames, this does look like a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 in play. It really does. I will say this too. I do think. I'll tell you what. Let's back down. Go a little lower time frame here. Show you something. Okay. Let's look at the Elliott Wave Oscillator again. In case you don't know about the Elliott Wave Oscillator, it was shown to me by a buddy, and I'm still getting kind of the hang of it, but there's some interesting things in here. Not only right here can we see that we have an impulse. Okay, I don't care what you try to do to this. That's an impulse. Okay, it's a 5-wave move, 5 count. Elliott Wave Oscillator even confirms it. It's right here. That's what the Elliott Wave Oscillator does. right? So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we get our retracement. Okay? This is an impulse. It's an impulse to me all day long. That means that right here we have had a flat. So it's A, B, C. Right? A, B, C. Now, some people could also say this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In log, it doesn't go high enough for me to like it as a 5. In linear, arithmetic, yeah, it can certainly be a 5. We've certainly taken a nosedive down, that's for sure. The problem is with this being an impulse. Notice how I just showed you, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Well, that confirms our impulse. Where is it on the other side? It doesn't exist. There is no 1, 2, 3, well, where's my 4 and my 5? The Elliott Wave Oscillator does not show that this is an impulse. Now, maybe you could suggest, you know, 1, 2, see what I'm saying here? This is, the third is supposed to have the most punch on it. Well, here's a third, right? But we get this, maybe I need to drop down the lower time frames to really kind of show it to you. The problem is that it doesn't exist. As far as I'm concerned, the Elliott Wave Oscillator doesn't show that this is an impulse. And when I look at Ethereum too, this is clearly a 3-wave move in Ethereum. Don't care how you look at it, it's a 3-wave move. Sure, it looks like an impulse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I just don't think it is. But I guess time will tell in a way. It doesn't really matter down, does it? So, at some point, I don't really care if we go up or down or wherever we go. I'm still just expecting right here. 13.8, 13.9. Tell you what, I'll show you some more crazy channels. Let's hide some of this crap off here. Let's bring up channels. Alright. Being obviously very bored one night, I started mapping out and playing with different channels in Bitcoin throughout its history. So it's pretty interesting how you can, and I apologize, some of the channels when I get to higher time frames, they tend to screw up a little bit. Down here doesn't mean too terribly much. You know, we see some reactions off some of the channels. Could be coincidence. Where it's not a coincidence though, all of these channels here that you see on this screen were started by this channel. Okay? And all I do is I take this channel, so let's highlight this one again. Okay? All I do is I take this channel, I start it in a certain way, and it starts giving me, I start cloning it to get, you know, what the overall pattern is. What ended up happening here is through the 2015, you know, to 2018 bull run, notice how, look at all of this time they were just stuck in the channel. How would have you loved to know? How it would have been fantastic to know at the time that you were in this channel. Would have been fantastic to know that that channel existed. You could have just been up, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. Would have been pretty cool. So anyway, as you can see here, we come up, and you can start noticing all of the hits, all the little reactions across all the channels. It's certainly not perfect. This blue one here, by the way, we call the blue bastard. Some of the guys I talked to. And I'll tell you why. It's because the moment we entered the blue bastard, as you can see, we didn't even really try to get back out. We just fell right through it. And here, we were like, yep, doing good. We're testing. And the moment we started just couldn't get through it once again and fell out. Started testing, wiggling around. And then we come again. Look at the blue bastard stops us once again. When we were at this point, I was screaming to the people on Trade Devils, it's time to get out, it's time to get out, time to get out, time to get out. And of course, bearish divergence was through the roof. Everything looked nasty, and it certainly looked like we had some sort of a flat going on here at the top. You know, of course, we didn't know this impulse was coming, but you could guess. But the way the channels are working is pretty interesting. And so now, this is actually where we're sitting once again. Now, I said what, 14.8, 14.9? Well, that is right there. So do we just squeak, basically? Just squeak a little bit out of the channel and come back? We've done it so many times. You know, we've made a wick through, come back up. Make wicks through, come back up. Wicks through, come back up. Wicks through, come back up. I don't know if I necessarily call that confluence, but with this chart, as far as its channels are concerned, we certainly see that a lot. So, anyway, come on over to Trade Devils, ask some questions, come through our belt system, check it out, see what you think. A lot of good people in there, a lot of smart stuff. If you guys like the video, I'll keep making more. If it was absolutely terrible, well, oh well, maybe I won't make any more. So, trade safe. Take care.